This happened just a few days ago. I'm Jake, 34, and I recently had shoulder surgery. I thought being in a hospital would be a chance to rest. I was wrong. The first night, after my surgery, was quiet at first. I was tired and the beeping machines were oddly soothing. But then I woke up to soft knocking. It was light, rhythmic taps. I thought it was just the anesthesia messing with my head. I closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep, but it kept going tap, tap, tap. I didn't get up. The second night, I glanced out the window. I thought I saw a shadow pass by. It was quick, but when I turned to look, there was nothing. My stomach sank. Maybe it was just the lights. I told myself that. Still, I couldn't shake the chill creeping up my spine. I felt uneasy, but I tried to ignore it. On the third night, I woke up again. My drip had stopped. I stared at it, my heart pounding. I could hear murmurs, voices coming from somewhere. They felt close, but I couldn't make out the words. I wanted to call a nurse, but I couldn't find my voice. I just lay there, listening. The machines beeped louder now, and my anxiety grew. Was I alone? It felt like someone else was in the room with me. Things only got weirder after that. The knocks returned, louder, this time from the bathroom. My heart raced. I debated getting up to check, but fear held me still. Those shadows outside my window kept showing up. I started looking for them during the day. But there was nothing. Each night felt longer, filled with dread. The knocking grew bolder. On the last night, I woke up hearing the knocks again. They felt urgent. I sat up, taking a deep breath. Just when I gathered my courage to check the bathroom, it stopped. A deep cold settled in my stomach, then I heard a whisper, soft, almost gentle. It came from the bathroom. "Help me," it seemed to say. I froze, unable to move or scream. Who was asking for help? What was happening? The fear wrapped around me that I had no explanation for any of it. I kept going over my nights in that sterile room, questioning what was real and what wasn't. The knocks, the whispers, the feels of being watched, they haunted me. I couldn't sleep properly. Finally, morning came, and I was tired and confused. I didn't mention anything to the nurses. What would I say? They'd think I was crazy. But in my heart, I knew what I felt. I think something was really wrong. I don't know if it was all in my head, but I still feel it's something dark lingering in that hospital room. What really happened to me? The day after that last night felt heavier than any I had experienced before. I woke up feeling drained, still grappling with the unsettling whispers. I tried to act normal, though I felt far from it. The nurse entered with her usual cheerful demeanor, pushing my medications. I forced a smile, but all I could think about was the bathroom and those knocks. "Hey, Jake. How are you feeling today?" she asked, her bright eyes searching mine. "Just tired," I replied, shrugging. "Nothing to worry about." She smiled and left the room, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched again. I stared across the room, at the walls that appeared to close in on me. I needed to occupy my mind, so I grabbed my phone, scrolling through social media. But everything blurred together, just like my thoughts. As the day wore on, I decided to get out of the bed. I needed some air, some distance from this room. I made my way to the window, wincing at the dull pain in my shoulder. The view was comforting, just a maze of rooftops and construction sites. While looking outside, I thought I caught a glimpse of movement below. I leaned closer, squinting. A man, dressed in a dark coat, stood near the entrance of the hospital. He glanced up at me, and a chill shot down my spine. His eyes seemed to bore into mine, hollow and intense. It felt wrong, like I was being looked at through a window that I couldn't escape. I backed away from the glass, trying to shake off the unease. Later, the nurse returned for my evening checkup. "You need anything, Jake?" She asked casually. Just, what is the deal with the bathroom? I blurted. Is it always so noisy? She raised an eyebrow, puzzled. No, not really. The only time I've noticed sounds is during cleaning. But the night staff does that after hours. Okay, I replied, my heart racing. I thought about saying more but backed off. What could I say? As night fell, the shadows danced around me again. I could hear someone in the hallway, but the whispers still lingered in my mind. With another quiet tap echoing, I looked at the bathroom door. I felt pulled to it, like a magnet urging me to approach. Despite the fear clawing at my throat, that I took a breath, deciding to confront it. I dragged myself to the bathroom, my footsteps sounding too loud in the silence. The door was slightly ajar, my heart pounded. Had it always been like this? That's when I noticed something on the floor, barely visible in the dim light. It looked like a photo, torn, dusty. Against all reason, I reached down to pick it up. My fingers brushed the edge, and I pulled it close to see. What I found sent a shiver through my spine. It was a black and white photo of a woman, her expression dull and lifeless. She looked oddly familiar. Before I could process it, the door slammed shut behind me. I jumped, my heart racing. Panic surged through me. I pushed against the door, but it wouldn't budge. That's when I heard it again, a whisper, sharper this time. Help me! I froze, realizing that whatever was happening had taken a turn I couldn't escape. The whisper echoed in my mind, mixing with the unsettling atmosphere of the bathroom. The photo slipped from my fingers, falling onto the damp floor. My pulse quickened as I slammed my shoulder against the door again, desperate for it to give way. Help me! The voice was closer now, swirling around me, yet I was completely alone. The walls felt thick and closing in on me, a suffocating reminder that escape was out of my grasp. With one last, urgent shove, I felt the door inch open. I stumbled forward, nearly collapsing into the dimly lit hallway. I took a moment to gather myself, just outside the bathroom. There was no one there. I shook my head, trying to clear it. The whisper faded, but the weight of what I'd seen lingered. I glanced down at the floor. The photo was gone. I looked back at the bathroom, swallowing hard, the image of the woman replaying in my mind. Who was she? I decided to search for the nurse. Maybe she would have an explanation for me, something to make it all less terrifying. I found her at the nurse's station, filing through paperwork. Hey, I said, my voice slightly shaky. I need to know about the bathroom. Why was it locked? I mean, it just shut on me. She glanced up, puzzled. Locked? It shouldn't be. The staff checks those rooms at least once an hour. I felt my stomach drop. But I was just in there, and I hesitated, realizing how crazy I must sound. It was just so strange. Are you feeling alright? She asked, concern flooding her features. You seem a bit off. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, just a little jumpy, I guess. I turned to walk away, but a sudden sound drew my attention. A soft thump came from the far end of the hallway, a rhythmic beating that seemed out of place. My heart raced again as I decided to investigate, my feet moving of their own accord. As I approached, the noise grew louder. It sounded like a heartbeat. When I reached the corner, I stopped. The air felt charged, thick with something I couldn't name. There, at the end of the corridor, a door stood ajar. I could barely see a figure inside, shadows shifting behind it. My breath caught. I couldn't see clearly, but there was definitely someone there. Without thinking, I took a step closer. Hello. My voice was barely a whisper. The pounding sound pulsated in my ears. Jake, the voice came from the room, soft and urgent. It was the same whisper I had heard in the bathroom. My instinct screamed for me to run, but something, curiosity or dread, held me in place. Who are you? I called out, my voice steadier than I felt. Then everything in the hallway went dark. The lights flickered out, leaving me in total blackness. And just like that, I could hear nothing but my own heart pounding in my chest. I groped around in the dark, feeling the cold, hard walls pressing against my palms. The heartbeat sound returned, but now it felt like it was inside my head, echoing and disorienting. I held my breath, trying to focus, until I noticed a faint sliver of light spilling from the open door. "Jake," the voice called again, more insistent now. My pulse quickened. I didn't want to go towards it, but my feet moved on their own. I crept to the door, squinting through the dimness. As I stepped into the light, I caught sight of the figure. It was a woman, hunched over, her back facing me. I could barely make out her features, but her hair hung in dark strands that swayed slightly, as if moved by a breeze. "Who are you?" I asked, my standstill turning into cautious steps. I couldn't see her face yet, but I felt the tension crackling in the air, and I could hardly breathe. She turned her head, and I froze. Her eyes were wide and dark, filled with a blend of panic and urgency that sent chills down my spine. "You have to help me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You're the only one who can." "Help you? How?" I managed to say, fear constricting my throat. I wanted to pull back, to run back down the hallway, yet something in her gaze held me captive. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but the lights flickered back on, bathing us in harsh fluorescent lighting. Her features went blank for a moment, and I could see now that her clothes were tattered and stained. And then she was gone. The sudden absence of the woman left an empty void in my stomach. I blinked, hoping I had just imagined it. I staggered back, panic rising as I looked around. The room was empty, just walls and an old chair in the corner. My heart raced, pounding against my ribcage as I fought the urge to scream. That's when I noticed it. My shadow stretched out before me, but something was off. It looked like it had a shape curved where no one stood beside me. I took a step closer to the wall, and the shadow seemed to shift, following me. "Stop!" a low, rasping voice echoed in my ear before I could turn. I spun around, but the hallway behind me was now empty. The air felt thick with dread. I stumbled back towards the door, desperate to escape whatever was occurring. Then I heard it again, the heartbeat. But this time, it was louder. It felt as if it was coming from inside the room with me. The sound quickened, drowning out my thoughts, and I was left gasping for air. Just as I was about to flee, the door slammed shut behind me, locking me in. The lights flickered again and the figure of the woman reappeared, eyes wide with terror. "Jake!" she screamed, and I felt a searing heat build behind me as darkness swirled in the corners of the room. There was no escape now. The darkness pressed in tightly. I could barely see the woman through my panic. The pulse of heat grew hotter behind me, and it felt like I was being pulled backward into something I couldn't comprehend. "Get out!" I shouted, but the words came out ragged and weak. "What do you want from me?" Her hands flew up, and I noticed something glint in her palm, a small, silver pendant. "You must," she gasped, her voice laden with desperation. "Only you have the key." The pendant swung slightly as she moved, catching the light for just a moment before it shrank back into darkness. My thoughts raced. "The key? What key?" I blurted out, but before she could answer, the lights flickered again. When they came back on, she was gone, and a low hum filled the air, a sound like machinery whirring to life. Suddenly, I felt the floor tremble beneath my feet. I lost my balance and stumbled, bracing myself against the wall. I could hear it now, a faint mechanical noise coming from somewhere deep within the room. I turned slowly, scanning for its source. That's when I saw it, a door I hadn't noticed before, set into the wall near the chair. It was slightly ajar, with shadows spilling out into the room, twisting and curling like serpents. The humming grew louder, more insistent. "Jake," the voice returned, echoing through the air. Only, it sounded different now, layered with distortion and desperation. Without thinking, I moved toward the door. My heart pounded like a drum in my ears. The deeper I got into the shadows, the more the temperature dropped. I could see my breath clouding in front of me, but still, I pushed forward. "Help me!" The voice wailed again, now sounding frantic, and I felt that same tether pulling me into the darkness, urging me onward. That I reached the door's edge and peeked inside. It led to a small room, filled with strange symbols and old hospital equipment I couldn't recognize. An energy shimmered in the air, distorted, like a reflection in a warped mirror. I hesitated, sensing danger hovering just out of sight, but then something caught my eye. On the floor lay a locket, the same silver pendant I'd seen the woman holding. I bent down to pick it up, hands trembling. It felt cold against my skin, an icy bite that sent shivers up my arm. As I fully grasped it, the room trembled again. A shadow rushed past me, moving with blinding speed. I turned, but before I could react, I felt something brush against my back, unnervingly close. I whipped around, heart racing, ready to confront whatever lurked in the dark. But there was nothing. The room was empty, save for my ragged breath and the pendant hanging heavily in my palm. Then came the noise, a low, droning wail that echoed around me. I dropped the locket, and it clattered to the floor, rolling toward the shadows and out of sight. "Find me," the voice whispered, and with that, all the lights went out. I was plunged into darkness again, disoriented and terrified. I couldn't tell which way was which. I was not alone anymore. Something was waiting, I could feel it. The silence felt heavy, thickening in the void around me. I couldn't see anything. I tried to steady my breathing, but it was hard when every instinct told me to run. I reached out, hoping to find the wall, but my hand brushed against cold air instead. "Jake," the distorted voice echoed again, closer this time. Panic surged through me. I needed to find the light. I turned in a slow circle, almost instinctively feeling my way back to where I thought the door had been, and then it happened. A sudden flicker, brief in duration, illuminated the space just enough to show me a glimpse of a figure lurking near the edge of the shadows. My pulse thundered in my ears, and every fiber of my being screamed to flee. But before I could move, the darkness surged forth like a wave, swallowing the light. I was again alone in eerie stillness. That I stumbled back, my heel catching on something hard. I fell, hitting the cold floor with a thud. Caught off guard, I gasped, pain shooting through my arm. I scrambled to my feet, desperate to maintain some sort of control. As I stood, I noticed the faintest glimmer from where the locket had rolled. "Don't leave me," it wasn't just a whisper this time. It was more of a plea, twisting into a mix of desperation and fear. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. Whatever this was, it felt alive. That I edged forward, feeling for where the locket had fallen. The smooth surface pressed into my palm again when I found it, but it was different now, warmer and humming, like it was resonating with something deep within the dark. I closed my eyes, heart racing, and brought the pendant close to my chest. That's when the room began to pulsate. The walls shifted like they were breathing. The machinery whirred louder, each sound morphing into a cacophony that vibrated through me. A sense of urgency flooded my veins. I felt the need to understand what was happening, but also a paralyzing fear of what that knowledge might bring. "Find me," the voice crooned again, but this time it was layered with an edge of frustration, like a lost child desperate for rescue. The name Jake echoed heavily, almost feral in its intensity. It was clear the voice belonged to the woman from before. Driven by instinct, I took a step backward and collided with something solid. I gasped, twisting around. The shadows shifted, and in that instant, I saw her, a flicker of light that formed her figure against the wall just as the lights flickered back on. Everything froze. My breath caught in my throat. She was distorted, a mirage caught between two worlds. Her eyes, wide and pleading, were fixated on me. In a sudden rush, the realization hit me like a freight train: the pendant was crucial. It was more than just a locket. It was tethering her to this realm. Then everything went dark again, plunging me back into the abyss. I had to find her. But in my quest to rescue the unknown woman, I feared I'd end up lost in the darkness too. What if I couldn't return? Then, from the depths of that black void, came a loud crash. An alarm pierced the silence, echoing through the dark like a siren. That I gripped the locket tighter, eyes straining against the oppressive darkness. Whatever was in this room with me wasn't done yet. The alarm blared like it was alive, each beep slicing through the thick silence and sending shivers down my spine. It felt like a warning siren straight out of a horror movie. I could barely breathe as I strained to hear anything beyond the noise, half expecting something to come charging at me. "Get a hold of yourself, Jake," I muttered under my breath. My voice felt small against the clamor. It was dark again, only my racing heartbeat anchored me in reality. I needed to move, needed to find the door. As I advanced cautiously, I could feel the locket pulsing gently against my chest, proving to be the only point of warmth in the freezing room. I couldn't ignore it. It was tethering me to a purpose. "Find her," I forced myself to whisper again, even if the words tasted like dread. That I took a step forward, only to step on something sharp. A jolt of pain shot up my foot, forcing me to stumble back. "Ow!" What? I breathed heavily, glancing down. My foot had landed on a broken shard of glass. That couldn't be good. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, cutting through the darkness in an angry strobe. In those intervals of light, I caught sight of the figure again. The woman's outline emerged, her face obscured in shadow but her eyes still wide and pleading. She reached out, her fingers curling like she was beckoning me closer. "Jake," her voice quivered through the air, a haunting melody that vibrated inside my bones. I felt heat rising to my cheeks, a rush of dizzying adrenaline. "I'm coming," I called out, pushing through the disorienting feeling. My instincts told me to trust her, but a small voice shouted to run. The alarm suddenly cut out, replaced by absolute quiet. The silence felt different this time, weighted, like the calm before a storm. My heart thudded in my chest, and I could hear the sickening sound of my own breath. With a deep breath, I moved towards her, determined to find out what she wanted. The closer I got, though, the more she seemed to shift away, as if the shadows were pulling her back. "Please, help me," she cried out, desperation drowning her voice. It resonated within me, urging me forward. I reached for her, but as my fingers grazed the air, everything around me began to tremble. The room vibrated with an unseen force, and a wave of cold wind rushed by, forcing me back. "Stay away," I shouted, but the words felt empty. In the chaos, I realized my reach was futile. I was losing her again, and that's when I saw a flash of brightness just beyond the silhouette, illuminating a door at the far end of the room. It was no ordinary door, it shimmered, as if it were alive, beckoning me to cross its threshold. Should I risk it? Was that my way out? My gut twisted in uncertainty. The floor shifted beneath me, and I felt the shadows closing in once more. "No!" I yelled defiantly, clutching the locket. My breath was shallow, but I stood my ground. "Help me, Jake." Her voice intensified, betraying an urgency I could not ignore. I rubbed the locket furiously, searching for any remaining warmth, as I took one step toward that door. But before I could reach it, the lights flickered once more, and everything went dark. A sinking feeling gripped my chest. It was the door or nothing. I had to decide fast. I stumbled forward, heart racing as I fought against the crushing darkness. My eyes strained to find that shimmering door, but it felt like chasing smoke. I could hardly remember which direction I had been facing. Panic crept in, tightening like a vice around my throat. Then, a whisper broke through the silence. "Jake." It was her voice again, but it sounded different, closer, more urgent. I turned instinctively, desperate to find her. I felt the locket grow warmer against my chest, a small comfort amidst the fear. "Where are you?" I shouted, my voice echoing through the void. "Show yourself." The air shifted. A gust of icy wind wrapped around me, sending chills down my spine. In the faintest sliver of light that seemed to pulse from nowhere, I caught a glimpse of her face, pale and anguished. The shadows danced around her, bending and swirling like phantoms, almost as if they were alive. "Jake, please!" she gasped, reaching out again. I could see desperation etched into her features, as though she were fighting against something unseen. "You have to help me. It's coming for me." "What is coming?" I took another step forward, and this time the air felt thick, resisting my movement. "Are you trapped? Is it in the room with us?" The shadows seemed to shift at her words. A cold dread filled the space, layered over with the weight of her fear. "Listen," she insisted, her voice steadying. "You need to find the key. It's hidden somewhere." "Where?" I pressed, feeling the call of the door again. "I can't see anything." It's in the locket," she stammered, her image flickering like a dying bulb. "You have to use the locket." In that moment, I felt a jolt in the pit of my stomach. I fumbled with the pendant, desperate to understand. "How? What do I do?" She opened her mouth to respond, but before any words came out, the ground trembled again. The shadows surged forward, wrapping around her frame like coils of smoke. "No! Stay away!" I ran toward her, but she fell back, swallowed by darkness. "Jake!" Her voice echoed, then faded into an unsettling silence. A wave of dread washed over me. I slammed my eyes shut, trying to block out the emptiness. But I couldn't ignore the gnawing urgency inside, the feeling that something terrible was happening. I clutched the locket tightly, feeling warmth spill from it where moments before there was nothing. I could shut down, or I could fight. With a surge of determination, I opened my eyes and swung toward the shimmering door. It could lead me to her. I had to believe that. I sprinted to it, feet pounding against the hard floor, each step a desperate bid to escape the clutches of the shadows. Just as I reached out for the handle, the door swung open, revealing a blinding light. But at that moment, I felt something cold brush against my back. A chill gripped my spine as I turned slowly. Something was there, and it was not the woman. "Jake," it rasped. My blood ran cold. I had to act. I whipped around to face the thing behind me. It loomed like a dark specter, all jagged edges and swirling shadows. My heart thundered in my ears, drowning out the desperate voice in my mind urging me to flee. "Stay away from me!" I yelled, stepping back toward the door. But the thing didn't move. Instead, it inclined its head, its form rippling as if it were made of smoke. "Jake," it breathed again, the sound slithering like ice down my spine. I could almost see its eyes, or what I assumed were eyes, hollow and wide, voids where any hint of humanity should have been. The door behind me beckoned with its piercing light, but the chill pressing against my back held me captive. I felt like an animal caught in a trap, the sharp breaths of fear urging me to choose. Should I run through the door, or confront whatever this was? "Help her," it whispered, the words slithering around me, chilling and consuming. My fingers turned white as they gripped the locket. I glanced at it, the warmth pulsing, reminding me of her urgency. "What do you want?" I demanded, trying to buy time. "What are you?" In response, the shadows surrounding it twisted and contorted, almost like hands reaching out. You must seek the key," it rasped. My heart raced as the memory of her voice rang in my ears, the key she mentioned. "Why should I believe you?" I shot back, wavering between rage and fear. The shadows pulsed threateningly in response. For a moment, I thought I saw a glimpse of something within the darkness. A face? No. Just a trick of the light. Because the thing leaned closer. "I am the guardian. You must find it before it's too late." "Find what?" My voice was barely above a whisper. "The truth," it whispered back. "Here in this place." Suddenly, the ground below me trembled violently, and a surge of panic coursed through my veins. The shadows seemed to grow, extending towards me like a greedy hand. "No!" I screamed, my instincts kicking in. Desperation propelled me forward. I lunged for that door again, feet pounding against the floor. As I closed the distance, my fingers brushed the handle, and the blinding light enveloped me. I barely registered the sensation of being pulled through, but the moment I crossed the threshold, I felt the pressure lift, the shadows retreat behind me, but I wasn't free. I stumbled into a new space, one that was eerily familiar yet distorted. The room was filled with sterile brightness, but a gnawing feeling of dread seeped through. I recognized it immediately, the hospital room where I found her phone last week. When I saw it, I gasped. On the table beside the bed lay an open notebook, pages scattered as if someone had flipped through in haste. My breath caught in my throat. One specific drawing stood out, a key, intricately detailed, surrounded by swirling shadows. I stepped closer, heart racing. The drawing wasn't just a sketch, it was a warning. As I stared, the shadows began creeping back in, growing darker and thicker around the edges. The thing from before was too far behind that I had no time. I had to figure out what it all meant before I was swallowed whole. The shadows thickened around me, whispering intentions that clawed at the back of my mind. I pushed my hands against the pages of the notebook, cold, clinical paper that only added to the sense of urgency. I had to understand. I had to find the key they spoke of before my past consumed what remained of my sanity. I quickly scanned the surrounding notes, scrawled thoughts, sketches of the woman I'd seen, and unsettling entries. One caught my eye, a hastily written phrase, "The key is in the light." My heart raced. What light? I looked around, desperately trying to locate the source. The room began to tremble again, a low vibration echoing the chaos as the shadows seemed to pulse with growing intensity. "You have to hurry," a voice cried out, and I whipped my head around. Was it her? Or something darker? There was a light flickering in the corner of my eye, beckoning me like a siren's call. I turned just as the light blared brighter, shattering the dense atmosphere that surrounded me. I rushed toward it, feeling panic claw at the edges of my reason. I knew I couldn't afford to be timid anymore. The walls felt alive, closing in as the shadows writhed and swirled around me. The images of the woman kept flashing in my mind, the fear in her eyes, her outstretched hand. I couldn't let her down. The key is in the light. Out of instinct, I raised the locket toward the flickering brightness. The moment it connected with the glow, the pendant sang in resonance, breathing warmth into the chill that gripped me. The symbols on the locket began to glow, brighter than I believed possible, illuminating shadows that threatened to swallow me whole. Then, as if a barrier was being breached, the shadows recoiled momentarily, revealing a door that had not been there before. It stood ajar, shafts of pure light spilling out, pure and iridescent, almost blinding. I could hear it again, that familiar voice echoing within the space. "Jake! You must find the truth." Before I could think, I sprinted toward that door, propelled by urgency and fear. As I crossed the threshold, the brightness enveloped me, the shadows sucked back deeper into the room I had just abandoned. The overwhelming warmth bathed me in familiarity, and for a moment, I could hear the soft echoes of laughter and comfort, but it was just as quickly gone that I found myself back in the sterile hospital room. The four stood tall beside me, the beeping machines surrounding me in their relentless rhythm. But everything felt eerily flat, like a stage set devoid of actors, the calm before a storm. I lay still, staring at the ceiling, breathing a sigh of relief only momentarily before an unsettling question crept into my mind: what had happened to the woman? Was she still trapped in the shadows I had just escaped? And more importantly, what truth was ultimately hidden? The whispers returned, faint but tangible. I turned my head cautiously, glancing toward the bathroom door. It stood slightly ajar now. The sound of a soft knock echoed, bittersweet but chilling. "Help me." My heart dropped. I thought about how many nights I had ignored those calls, how close I had come to understanding. With an anxious breath, I swung my legs over the bed and sat up. The hospital around me felt more alive than ever, and yet, the shadows were still there, watching from the corners of my perception. I pushed myself to stand, finding strength where I thought there was none. Nothing could prepare me for the feeling of dread settling in my stomach as I approached the bathroom, compelled by an insatiable need to discover more. The familiar voice whispered again, "Jake." I paused just outside the door, breath heavy and unsteady, and I felt the locket warm against my chest again, as if sensing the gravity of the moment. Becoming ever bolder, I finally pushed the door open wider. Inside the bathroom, the light flickered, illuminating nothing but emptiness. And yet, in that stark brightness, a shadow flitted past me, a fleeting glimpse of what could have been. There was silence. The echoes of my heart pounded in my ears, but they mingled with something darker, a pull toward the unknown that lay ahead. Outside, the hall was quiet, and as I left the bathroom behind, I couldn't shake the feeling that my journey was only just beginning, that I moved carefully now, each step deliberate. There were still more questions than answers lingering in my mind. The mystery of that dark pendant intertwined with the voices that called out to me. I couldn't forget her. As I walked down the hall, I knew I might never find complete closure. Whatever had been trapped in the shadows still lingered just out of reach, and whatever answers loomed before me could shift like fleeting wraiths. And yet, something dark learned that I was not as easy to extinguish as they had hoped. I had learned the real battle was not over. They would come for me again. The shadowy knots twisted in the air, vague memories of fear and dread that refused to release me. And deep down, I knew that the unknown was waiting, and the fight was far from over, one that would not let me go without a final reckoning. Perhaps I would find the truth after all, in a light that refused to be extinguished.